thank you for being here today. You're doing a great job of answering the questions and being very articulate. Thank you for that. I'm from Mississippi, and right now we have actually thousands of constituents of mine from Clarksdale, Mississippi, and Greenville, Mississippi, and other rural hospitals throughout the state, and they're living with the fear of uncertainty of their hospital closing. And it is a reality. In 6 months from now, if their husband has a heart attack or their wife goes into labor or there's some type of a medical emergency, they're trying to decide if they're going to be able to drive 5 minutes to their local hospital or 100 miles to Memphis or Jackson, Mississippi. And one of the more common issues that I hear about from the rural hospitals is what they refer to as the USDA Rural Development's 5-5 review, or the 5-5 requirement. They use two different terms there, but it's consistent. But what we've figured out is the 5-5 rule pertains to a rural development direct loan application, which requires national office approval if the hospital has been in existence for less than 5 years or has not operated on a financially successful basis for 5 years immediately prior to the loan application. And whether you're a national bank, community bank, a credit union, or a lender of last resort as USDA Rural Development in this case, I think we can all agree that there's a need to be a level of confidence that loans will be repaid. But that said, the USDA is often referred to as the lender of last resort. But hospitals with impeccable balance sheets, they don't need our financing. And if they do need something, they get it somewhere else. They don't get it from USDA. So the bottom line is there are rural hospitals in Mississippi and across the country that need financing to remain operational, but they just can't get it. And the closure of just one rural hospital means hundreds of jobs and puts an entire community's lifeline at stake, literally. USDA or Congress alone cannot eliminate all of the healthcare challenges facing rural America, but I really think that we can do better. Madam Undersecretary, will you commit to working with this committee and Congress going forward to ensure the 2023 Farm Bill provides better opportunities for rural hospitals, or the best that they can be? And do you have any thoughts, ideas, or suggestions on how we can make improvements in this area in the next Farm Bill?
Senator Hyde-Smith, thank you so much for your advocacy for rural hospitals. Yes, I will commit to providing technical assistance to improving our service to rural hospitals in your next Farm Bill. It's a passion I think we both share, recognizing that 135 rural hospitals have shut their doors, and another 430 some are at risk of having to close. I'd also like to follow up with you specifically about the USDA 5-5 review, and we'll make sure my team does so to identify whether it's a statutory requirement or a regulatory requirement, because I think you're absolutely right. We've got to walk that cautious line of making sure we're making wise investments, but also being there for communities when they need it. Sometimes it's also about the speed of that review, and I'm happy to talk through those specific examples of and what that speed looks like as well as the national office is reviewing it.
Thank you very much for that, and I have 1 minute left. You mentioned community facilities programs and the loans and the grants they provide to enhance quality of life in rural America. The Mississippi Fairgrounds is a hub for rural Mississippians involved in agriculture and livestock, and events such as youth livestock shows, Farm Bureau conventions, and rodeos are held there each year. I'm a former ag commissioner in Mississippi and very familiar with this. And we also serve as shelters for horses and livestock during the hurricane evacuations, which is very critical. But despite the fact rural development considers the fairgrounds ineligible for community facilities programs and loans because it lies in a populated county, and it's one of the most populated counties in Mississippi. But the fairgrounds provide an essential service for rural Mississippians. Every rural county comes to that fairgrounds to participate. It's those kids who have to deal with the facilities that are certainly not up to par, from the wash racks to the bathrooms where the kids change clothes to put on their outfits to go out there. Would rural development be open to discussions on expanding community facilities programs to include facilities that are geographically outside the rural America but provide essential services for all of our rural counties? That's just where the hotels are, and that's when you make it to that level. And that's everybody in there making up the group that's there is from rural counties. So I'm just asking your consideration on that.
I appreciate your advocacy and know how important fairgrounds are. Being from New Mexico, it's such a meeting place. It's a place where you get to celebrate the rural character of your home. Rural definition is a hotbed. I think we'll have more conversation about that today, and it certainly is. Much of it is statute, right? So it's Congress's discretion, and we will enforce and execute statutes faithfully. And it's something that takes a lot of discussion, right? Because part of the reason why we're investing in local rural communities is to be able to strengthen that tax base when people are staying in rural communities, but also recognizing that we got to stay flexible. Rural community facilities is one of our most flexible programs, but there are still places that are ineligible, and being able to just come to an agreement on that can be a challenge.
Thank you so much.